Alright, it's the culmination of many monies, lots of hours, and time I will never get back in my life. But this is Lobster Krusty Boat Part 4! Woo! It hits. It appears I have made a gross miscalculation. Is this foreshadowing for my boat? Well, before you watch this video, you should go check out parts 1, 2, and 3 to see how this boat got to this stage and what we're going to be doing with it. Hopefully this doesn't happen to my boat. It's time to finish up my exhaust stack doohickey. So I got this exhaust off Amazon. I think it looks pretty good. Really good idea to prep your pipe before you weld it. But we need to make a funnel kind of cap thing for it, for the exhaust stack, chimney chase, whatever you want to call it. So I'm welding some thin wall stainless. It's a little bit of a mess, but I think it'll work just fine. It's my first run. We can try again later. Another really neat thing I love about having some of the tools I have now is 3D printing. Like, I literally made this jig to hold these offset things in, to hold this exhaust stack on the boat so that the exhaust stack doesn't touch any of the fiberglass without a huge air gap to keep things nice and cool. But this jig works great. It's kind of amazing what you can do with a little bit of 3D printing. Makes an excellent jig, so I can actually TIG weld real pieces onto this thing, and it's perfectly lined up. And once I'm done with it, I can just hammer it off. Okay, we need to build a gate for the boat. Also, I'm TIG welding, and I don't have a very good setup for this, so I'm using my knee to run the TIG pedal, and we're gonna see how well this works. I really haven't had a whole lot of time at my shop, but I'm trying to get as much as I can done before I drag this to Rhode Island, so we're also going to weld up the boat gate. This is going to be the transom door that folds down to allow me to drag my projects on board and keep the water out when I have a huge following season waves crashing over the backside of the boat. Hey, it's not too bad. Look at my dimes. Don't critique my walls that badly. This is just made out of some 304 stainless. I may make it out of 316 stainless, but maybe that's a project for the future when I have a little more money. All right, it's been one entire winter. We're back at the dumpster fire I call a boat. Look at the boat. Toby's like, oh no, not the boat. And it's still there. It hasn't burned down. No one stole it. Oh, something fell off. Oh, the antenna fell off. So, we got something to fix.
Look, it had a baby while you were gone.
What do you think?
It looks like a boat that's not floating.
My boat, the deck. I did the deck last year, and it's still pretty, oh no. I talked about it because I put the epoxy down when the sunlight was on it and it was hot, and then I had an exothermic reaction and it ruined some of the cure. So you're probably gonna see a little bit of video where I have to grind down and fix my crappy deck because I couldn't follow directions. I really wanna see how it looks, so I'm gonna put it on. I didn't think this through. And my neatly folded aluminum exhaust stack cap. I ain't no boat expert, but this looks good, I think. Put that there. Oh yeah, she looks so much more complete with that. It looks like a real boat. All right, I got my fancy new exhaust from last year. I'll weld it up and put it in the boat now. It's actually time to install the exhaust parts now. The huge thanks to Seaboard again. They've been a wonderful help with this project. They hooked me up and showed me the right things I need to make this dry exhaust work without catching my boat on fire, because I know boats do catch on fire with dry exhaust doing research, so I'm trying not to do that with my boat because I can't really afford to replace it. But Seaboard's come in clutch with all of these cool exhaust parts. This thing should just bolt right up to the turbo on the Cummins engine. It's got this cool flex pipe, and it makes this whole installation very easy because I've never built an exhaust for anything, but this is working out pretty good. I think I mentioned it already, but like, you really have to make sure your boat doesn't catch on fire with the dry exhaust parts. So that's why you see these standoffs here. It's to really get a lot of air gap going, because air is going to be flowing through here through all these metal pieces and doohickeys, and it should act like kind of a heat sink, just sucking all the heat away from the exhaust and transferring it to the environment and into the air rather than transferring it directly to the boat. Next thing I gotta do for the exhaust system is weld up some stuff for the top. I had to wait till I get to the boat to do this, but that thing needs some brackets, and we need some 3/16 L stainless steel for that. Now this stuff sucks to drill holes in. What you really want to do, I don't know, I've always hated working with stainless, but I finally found out the trick is just lubrication and a lot of pressure. So cutting fluid and then a ton of drill bit pressure will make an easy hole in this without destroying my drill bits. I really do like TIG welding. It makes this super easy. I've never really had much experience TIG welding stainless, but this is going together pretty well. I thought stainless was going to be a lot more of a challenge to work with, but I'm just kind of welding in the air gap pieces right here. This is the very top of the exhaust stack slash chimney chase. We're just going to weld it up in place and then screw it all together. Okay, that's all welded up. The rest of the exhaust stack is kind of just made to keep water out. So I have this hole that goes all the way above my boat. So basically I'm trying to think of like water going down. So I have this cut at the slope. I don't really know what people really do for these things. I've done a little bit of research, but everyone seems to do their own thing. So I just kind of did my own thing here too. Okay, well I got this box thing built. It's aluminum and it rattles a lot. It's to cover up this muffler so you don't burn yourself on it. But I've come up with this fantastic idea to save some money. I have rock wool insulation. It's the Owens Corning flavor of it. So we're going to pack it in there and, maybe this thing won't, cost an arm and a leg and it'll quiet down some. So what I'm going to do is line it with rock wool insulation. I mean, this stuff is like somewhat of a fire retardant, so it should keep fire from spreading. And by theory, it should keep the heat out too, because it's also an insulation. It's something cheap, and we're going to see this is going to work because I'm performing some experiments here. So we're going to line the inside of this chase with this rock wool, and hopefully it quiets it down a lot. It's a super rainy day today. I have a bucket. The reason why? I have a dry stack and I need to put a bucket on it before all the water gets into my motor. This is a very common thing I see in a lot of these actual kind of work boats with these dry exhaust setups, is they always put a bucket or something, a 5-gallon on top of their exhaust stack, because water in your engine and the turbo is not a great idea. I've been building this boat in all sorts of weather, and soon I'll be boating this boat in all sorts of weather, trying to make my life as comfortable as possible. That's why I've got these Vessi shoes. Vessi sent me these shoes because they know I'm going on a mega aqua adventure, and where there's water, there's adventure to be had. That's why these shoes are amazing for my trip, because the shoes are waterproof all the way up to the top of the ankles, which is kind of nuts for a shoe like this. Whether I'm going to be working on the boat in the water, or just going on a kayaking adventure, these shoes fit in seamlessly with my life. See, I like these shoes because you can just pretty much wear them most anywhere. They look like casual, normal shoes. Like, you wouldn't tell this was like a waterproof rain boot, which I have, but I never wear it because my mom is calling. Where you at? Hang up. I'm trying to tell people about these awesome, amazing adventure shoes. But like I was saying, look at them. They look like normal shoes. Another benefit about these shoes, they're super lightweight. The issue with most waterproof shoes, however, is they're made of non-porous, like rubbery materials, and that is a lot of weight. This fabric is hydrophobic and repels all the water, and yet is very lightweight. These shoes are also so waterproof, they inadvertently make pretty good boats. And if you're not really a fan of the high tops, they have them also available in a lower top version. If you're ready to upgrade your shoe game and step into comfort, check out Vessi's early Black Friday sale, where you can get these shoes for $99. Don't wait, get them before they're all gone. Special delivery hatches. These $300. These used. 2 for $500. Time to install these in the boat. That was a pretty good deal on these, at least. Not those. Well, these hatches were cheap, but we're gonna have to do a little bit of cleaning. I don't really know why stainless rusts sometimes. I mean, it's stainless, but not stain-proof. I think it's something to do with the welding or like burning off some metals out of the composition. But cleaning up these hatches is because it's a good deal, and I'm gonna install them in the boat and save some money. Man, it was really nice having these hatches kind of closed up, though, because no water got back here throughout the winter. But now we're gonna have to deal with leaky hatches for a little bit. Gonna line the hatch lips with Total Boat Total Seal and plop them down. Should keep the water out, at least for a little bit. I'm also going to cut more space for hatches because this boat's got a ton of space in the backside. I got these sweet hatches thanks to Jeff on one of the boat forums. Really appreciate him. Nice guy. We're going to put these hatches over here because these ones have these giant dogs that you pull up and you twist and you get access to all your stuff. So I can store scuba gear and other assorted junk down below. Since we have a dry exhaust, there's no need for the wet exhaust port on the back. It's just another hole in the back of my boat, which I do not need or want. So we're going to grind this thing out, fillet it and chamfer it, and then back with a big fiberglass G10 block and add more fiberglass on top of that until there's more fiberglass coming out of everything. Watertight. Look how watertight this is going to be. It's a solid piece of G10, the most expensive thing you've ever purchased. I mean, next to carbon fiber. I'm going to put this on the inside and cover up this stinky hole in the bottom of my boat. Now we gotta glue this in here and glass this in. Yep, easy. At this stage, we carefully put on our elaborate secret sauce called Thick So, and then we stick it on the boat. Like this. Ugh. It should be a good waterproof seal thanks to all of Total Boat stuff. And then we're going to coat it with Total Boat Total Fair to make it fair in and obviously disappear into the rest of the boat. It's like it never even happened. You don't look super close because I need to put more glue in there.
It's not even lined up.
Stop making fun of me. So I'm going to come back and let this cure. And then we're going to just put epoxy and wet it around this edge and blend this in. So it's epoxy and G10 plate to make this extra waterproof. It's not really below the water line, but it's really close to the water line. So I still want to make sure it's glued like it's below the water line. On today's episode of Owning a Boat and Being a Boat Owner, we learn how to feed the boat. So today we're making pancakes for the boat because the boat needs pancakes shoved in its back hole. 1708 sheets we got. We're just covering with epoxy and like kind of hanging them on and just building up layer by layer and filling in this dish and patching this up. I think what we're working on now is we need to attach that gate over there to the back of this boat. I don't really have a good way to do this, so I'm gonna cut some G10 plate, epoxy it in using thick sew because it's really strong, and then run bolts all the way to the deck. The deck is made out of Eric's board, so it's kind of shoddy for attaching things like this to it. So I'm using solid G10 pieces to make it extra strong. I'm gonna put some gussets on here, make sure it's nice and tough. Now I'm using my computer science degree, which I do not have, to do a CAD, or computer-aided design. I'm gonna laugh when this door like rips off because it seems stupid. Hi, Toby. You're looking extra fine over there. Scratch this little bump. I gotta cut some more of this G10. It's extremely strong and really expensive, but I guess it's expensive for a reason because it's really strong and it's pretty much impervious to salt water. Now that I have all these plates cut, we can glue them into the boat. So I'm gonna use this to reinforce the back of my boat, and hopefully my experiment here works out. Next thing I need to do, make new hatches for the engine. The old hatches that covered up the engine are just too small, so I'm gonna have to remake some new ones out of some plywood and fiberglass. I really like to use some of the Eric's board to cover this thing up, but it's too expensive and I ran out, so this plywood will have to do. Alright, time to install the C strainer for the engine. This is another task in my long line of tasks that need to get done. Quick tip, if you want to transfer holes to something, get a piece of masking tape, trace the holes. I'm too lazy to find a marker, so this is washer will have to do. And then stick it on the thing you want. You don't have to actually measure or do anything, just need a piece of tape. Ta-da, look, it's perfect. I love repowering boats, said no one ever. That's why I'm installing this C strainer now. This is a 2-inch C strainer. The old one was a 1.5-inch one, and the 2-inch one costs more money. I love wasting money on this boat. Straining your seawater is a very good thing to do when you're driving through seaweed and other crap that you don't really want in your engine. Time to put the big old hose on. Now I can install the hose. Also, this engine has a 2-inch inlet, and the old one had a 1.5-inch, so literally I did throw everything away and had to get all new stuff for this. Repowering boats, it's really expensive. Nothing about this is cheap, for sure. Now we can multitask and get to the back of the boat. I can finally put on this Total Boat fairing compound and smear this ugly stuff away so you can barely ever notice that there was a hole in the back. If my body works good enough, you'll never even tell this was there. Time for more Total Boat green boogers. Patching that hole. The next multitasking thing we need to do is put more waterproofing stuff on our engine hatches. Since they're plywood, I don't want them to get wet because plywood and water don't really get along. So I'm using some Total Boat Total Barrier. It's like a 2-part epoxy, super paint, and coating the hatches with this, and then we're going to paint on top of that and keep them nice and waterproof. The next multitasking item is making the sliding door. This is some Eric's board. It's 0.5 inches thick, but it's super lightweight and it's ultimately waterproof. It's basically like foam and fiberglass, but we're gonna hot coat this thing in epoxy and do a little bit of fiberglassing, and this should be a really nice lightweight sliding door. All right, we got some DIY manifolds for the fuel. It's a combination of bronze and brass. I don't know if brass is super acceptable for diesel, but I see it on some things, and the internet seems to be a little bit mixed about brass for diesel fuel applications, but whatever. I'm gonna do it because it's all I can afford. So we're gonna put these manifolds here, and then we're gonna plumb it up to the engine. So we have an inlet and a return. I'll explain a little bit more about these later and how the fuel works in the boat. So I cut these hoses. There's 2 of them on the boat, mainly because there are 2 tanks. We have a starboard side tank and a port side tank. I cut them the exact same length because I'm really not sure how this thing is going to draw from both hoses and, you know, keep the fuel tanks balanced. I have some ideas on why it will stay balanced, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to the sea trial if things start getting all funny with the fuel. Now that the fiberglass is dry on the door and it's been a few days, it's time to actually paint the door and make it look pretty. So we're using more Total Boat Wet Edge, high performance, 1-part paint. It coats this thing really well, surprisingly, with just 1 single coat, but we're gonna do a few more to make it look a little bit nicer. With my sliding door all finished, it's trying to slide it on. It's just simple aluminum tracks and the lightweight sliding door. I'm hoping it just kind of works. I kind of copied what Steve had on this boat with the sliding door on the back side, and this should make a pretty decent sliding door on the front side. That's pretty okay. Slowly but surely, all the pieces come back to the boat. This is a gunner. He runs Scandia Propeller.
There's been a lot of talk about which nut you put first. Little nut, they say first, because you can get a little more tension against the threads.
Yeah.
So this one will lock it in a little bit better than the other one, and the other one's good for keeping it in place.
He's helped me with tons of my stupid questions regarding this boat shaft and hooking it with some parts that I need for this project. He's getting my prop on and, you know, making sure everything is nice and aligned, and hopefully this all goes smoothly when this boat finally gets in the water.
You should see me taking the old prop off. I got so much heat for that, like literally. Well, I used torches to try to heat up the bronze, bro, on the bronze shaft. Never got it off. I sawzalled it off here.
Yeah, that happens.
So the nuts on the prop, that's all done. We can finally put the rudder back on, so I'm gonna put that back in its hole, and we can start actually getting the running gear of the boat back together and stop destroying everything. Now that we patched that giant hole in the back of my boat, it's time to make more holes in the back of my boat. I'm actually making these holes because I want to install some cool RGB LEDs, because no boat can go fast without RGB LEDs. So I wasted some money on these that I don't have, but it's gonna look really, really cool when it's in the water. So this is as close to a yacht as I'm gonna get, so I might as well add some yacht-like things to it. Now time for Satan's glue. Well, not quite. This is 4200. It's not as bad as 5200 from what I've been hearing, but well, there's no going back now. I did check this light to make sure it worked before we went this far, because yeah, I don't think no one's gonna take this back after I do this, even if it is defective from the factory. It looks pretty stuck. We can peel this tape off and have a nice professional-ish looking install. Or professional for me, at least. You don't mind the crap around it, but hey, we gotta put bottom paint on this thing anyway, so no biggie there. But at least the light looks good. Yep, this thing can go back on too. I do love this stage, the reassembly of a really, really long, complex project. Scandia Propeller also sandblasted my rudder post stuffing box. I don't know, this thing has like a packing gland in it too, with some strings. It keeps the water out of the rudder when it turns left and right, because it can't be a solid connection. But we can put all this crap back on the boat and really make some progress here. Oh, hey there. Now it's time to install this thing. A big through hole for my new sea strainer. The old one is a 1.5 inch, the new one is a 2 inch, so this hole's gonna be bigger. Great, more big holes in my boat, just what I wanted. You know how I complained about the repower making everything bigger and requiring more and more? We also need to upgrade the hole sizes in the boat, so I'm gonna take this big old hole saw and cut more big holes where the old holes used to be. This thing is too small. I have to go inside the boat and do it the other way around. Well, oh well, it's gonna get dirtier, I guess. Oh, that thing is beefy. Super expensive, but you know, just another long thing in the acronym of boat. Bust out another 1,000. Speaking of which, this thing is almost $1,000. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. This is just a trial fit, but hey, lines up. This thing's in there. Now I can take this off, cut it, put the backing block on there, and then this seacock thing will be finished. The next thing wrong with my boat is the surveyor that I paid to look at this thing found something on the hull. Obviously, it doesn't look like much, but he found some stuff tapping around, and you can kind of hear it. It sounds not as sharp here versus like somewhere else on the hull like this. The guess here is it's probably delaminated, so when I take this hammer and tap it, so what that means is that this boat maybe hit a motorcycle or a log or something, and
now the hull, the layers between the fiberglass are separated, so we're gonna have to grind this back, see if there's any damage that I can see here, and then re-glass it, patch it back up, and then we're fully ready to go. And this will be not a weak spot in the boat anymore.
I tell you what, fiberglass work really does suck. The more I grind into this thing, the more I hate myself, because it just keeps going. Like, I keep scratching at the sides here, and we're pulling out more and more glass. I guess I'm just gonna keep cutting at it and see how far it goes, because, you know, if I'm doing this work, I might as well just do it right and glass the whole thing and get to the extent of all the damage. This hole just keeps getting larger and larger.
There it is. I kept grinding and I found a crack. I found a crack in my boat. Well, only thing now to do is grind this crap out and glass over it. It's worth spending some money on a surveyor if you're gonna buy a really big boat.
See, this is the damaged parts right here. You can just like pick it up with your finger and they just fall right out. It's not laminated really well. It's just kind of like laying there, these layers. It's a super compromised area of this boat.
Well, I don't really like how this is going. It gets bigger. Oof, with that delamination, it's like all under this whole area. I gotta cut this whole thing out. This sucks.
Okay, that hole is now fixed. We can actually patch it back up now. So what I'm doing here is just adding more and more glass layers that get larger and larger around the circumference and kind of fill in the void, because it's kind of ground down like a dish. Like, imagine you filling a dish with layers of paper, but the paper is very thick. You just keep getting larger and larger towards the outer circumference, patch it up. It should be a pretty good plug.
All right, that does that. We got a sheet of plastic, some foam, and all the junk in the middle. Hopefully this presses it up there and cures it. This is gonna be first layer. I'm actually going to do a second layer because I'm just wanting to take the time to kind of like make sure that this is built up well enough that it's solid, rather than doing one giant layup and then maybe the epoxy overheats. So I'm gonna squish it with some smaller layers. A little bit more things off the list. The next thing, the hatch. This is the only hatch I really paid retail for because it's actually brand new. And I do not want to talk about how much this stupid little aluminum thing costs. If you're wondering, it's $300. Wow, that is stupid for just that little doohickey compared to the rest of those doohickeys that I bought used. All right, today's task, install some sound down. This stuff is some sort of fire retardant barrier. What it supposedly does is quiet down the engine room. It's called sound down because this is what I found when I bought the boat. It had some lead-lined foam, which is very not great for your health. We're using this stuff because I need to put some sound stuff back in here, and we're doing that today. The cool thing is this installation kit comes with these little doohickeys and these little aluminum nails. You just slide this little piece on here, and it stays out the sharp. And then we cut this bit off and put a cap on it. And that's how you install a bunch of sound down. Sam, what are you working on?
Shiny.
Whoa, that's cool. What's this doohickey for?
The intermediate bearing.
All right,
plate.
sick. Yeah, we can install this thing today. Just one more thing of, wait, there we go. Just one more part of the boat drive line. So we got Satan's glue, well, the Satan's glue light, which is 4200, because Satan's glue is actually 5200, which is basically impossible to get off without heat or some special debonders. We're using 4200 because I might have to take this thing off for any reason if I need to pull the prop shaft out of the boat. So we're putting all this crap back in. But first we're gonna put the pizza sauce on the pizza dough. Time to insert the cake. I think it looks more like a cake. It's frosting on a cake. So we're gonna put this. This shouldn't leak at all. I don't think it actually leaked to begin with, which is nice, considering how old the boat is, and this has probably never been done or taken off. Oh, look at it ooze out everywhere. That's what you want.
Now we can install the steering arm that goes on the rudder post. It's really surprising. This boat is like more than 40 years old, and this looks fantastic as far as the shape of the parts inside the boat that I got.
All right, that looks good. Rudder's back on the boat. It's time to actually install the impeller. I know a lot of you guys last time immediately jumped to the comment section like, you're destroying your water pump. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Except the water pump impeller was not actually installed in the housing, so not exactly right. But we're putting it in now because I do need to actually do the water test and, you know, actually put water in the motor and make sure the cooling loop actually checks out. So we're gonna put this on now and finish this thing up. More testing. We're gonna start the engine, but with the cooling water circuit. I got that water pump in there that you guys complained in. We put it in there.
So that's ready to go. We're gonna test it to validate that all this works and that the motor sounds pretty good. Also want to see how loud it sounds with the engine box doohickey on there. So we're loading up some water first to make a whole circuit, and we're gonna fire this thing up. All right. You ready to void this warranty? All right.
Void it.
I hear it doing its thing. It's priming. That's what that noise is. It's trying to draw fuel out of those lines, which are open. This boat is dumb. Use your own brain. This is the shift. So this needs to be neutral before we start. This one is the throttle. Throttle needs to be down so we crash into things at a slower speed. Let's try and start it. Oh, all right, let me try it. Yeah, I wanted to go. Oh, it's running. Oh yeah, she's circling water. Oh, the bucket. I forgot the bucket. The bucket. Oh, how's your head?
What's good?
That looks pretty good. So we got the intermediate bearing down there because the boat has a big long metal shaft that has to go from here to there to the back of the boat. Don't mind me just oiling my bearings. We're gonna spin this prop. So we started the engine successfully after all winter, totally fine. Now we've installed the little bearing doohickeys and we're gonna spin the propeller because I don't know which way the crash selection lever is currently going. Like, is this forward or is this reverse? So we're gonna figure that out and look at the propeller. But to do that, we start the boat again. Spin the shaft. All right, you want to spin it? Okay. Yep. All right, stop. Saw the shaft spin. It's going this way, and facing the front, this way is a right-hand wheel, which is what we got. Right-hand wheel or propeller. So that is going forward, so I don't have to change anything. The boat is ready to go. Whoa, that's so cool. Next thing I gotta do, the bow rail. I've kind of debated whether or not I should leave it, but it's already broken in a few places. Plus, I hate running with this thing at night because the glare comes off this thing. It's shiny, it's terrible. Probably could paint it matte black. Maybe we should fix it, but I think we're gonna delete it because I guess grow your sea legs. But I'm also gonna have a bunch of handles up there, so I'm not too concerned about people falling off the front of the boat. No matter how you skin this cat, it's pretty bad. These condition of these fittings in the definitely busted. So we're just gonna go and pull this crap off for now. Oh, that definitely looks so much better without stuff hanging off the front of it. I like it a lot. And that's why I pretty much did it. I look so much unobstructed now. I can totally see at night. Because I'm going to be running a lot at night for some of the weird videos and experiments we want to do. So it's a good thing I can see without much glare anymore. Before we fill these holes, it's really a good idea to countersink these things to give the epoxy sealant that I'm using more surface area to bite into. Because I really don't want water to get down here because there is a little bit of the core in the wash rail of this boat. I think it's a wash rail, right? What is this part of the boat called? Someone leave it in the comments. Time for your fillings, boat. Time to fill those dirty cavities with epoxy. This should keep all the water out of these X screw holes. Hey, these guys can put a hole in the boat. Look at the size of this. Look at the size of that drill. I was gonna buy tools like this, but then I looked at the price of these things. They are not cheap, so I'm just paying someone to do it for me, unfortunately. Yeah, at this point, time is money. I have no money and I have no time, so I'm literally going to just go in debt now for this project. These guys are gonna install this bow thruster, which I really desperately want. Maybe because I lack skill to really drive this boat successfully. Mainly because I'm a very green boat captain. But anyways, this bow thruster is going to allow the boat to slide side to side. Not really side to side, but more pivot its bow from port to starboard or starboard to port, whichever way you want to go, without having to go forward or backwards. It's really nice when you're docking in extreme situations and you really don't want to hit the boat next to you and play bumper boats and have to swap insurance. So I'm trying to save some money here by spending some more money up front. While they're busy installing that doohickey, it's time to finish up the rest of the sea strainer stuff. This is the outlet tail piece for the seacock. This gets screwed on the outside, and the seacock's sitting on the inside, which brings all the water in. It's very important you make sure you cover this stuff up with 5200 or 4200, whichever flavor you like the most of waterproof sealant. Gonna finish up the rest of the install by tightening all this crap down as much as possible, because I really don't want leaks here.
Last thing back here after you put the gate on is to make this box thing to hide the batteries and some of the wiring for the crane. So got some more of this Kusa board Eric stuff cut, and we just gotta glass it in and we're all done. Now it's time to install this thing. It's basically a big old screen. I'm supposed to buy a bracket for it, but there's no way I was gonna pay $250,000, $200 something for a silly bracket. So I've made one out of some aluminum because I am cheap and I have run out of money because I spent it on all this crap.
Sometimes I love my logic. I just spent a bunch of money on this for Runo MFD, and I'm too cheap to buy the brackets, so I made some out of some crappy aluminum just for now. Because I think I'm going to make a nice box or bezel that this Runo fits in later at some point, but for now, this aluminum bracket will have to do, because I'm not spending $200 on the one they should have just given me in the box.
While that water dries, I got a package from Seaboard Marine. They've been helping out a ton with this project, sending all sorts of doodads and doohickeys and answering all my dumb questions. But I got a sweet custom exhaust wrap with the dry stack. We're gonna put this bad boy on. Oh, this looks great. I'd say this thing is definitely pretty cool, and they did a very good job of making it. It fits like a glove. And it's got these cool little spring doohickeys and these little keychain things that snap on. That looks pretty good, and it fits perfectly. 10 out of 10. Would definitely buy this thing again if I had to. This is the bow thruster doohickey. It's the propeller with the gearbox. That's pretty cool looking. Supposedly this thing should move over like 100 pounds of thrust through the water, which is kind of insane for this small volume of space to move through and produce that kind of static thrust. So this is the bow thruster unit. I had the guys put it in, but I'm gonna do the wiring because they offered me quite a bit of a discount if I did it myself. Electricity, wiring, easy. I can do that. I can do that in my sleep. So we're gonna do that right now. Hey James, what are you doing?
We are preparing to fully tent this boat and get to sandblasting.
All right. Okay, this is James's Heritage Marine. He's gonna blast the bottom of this boat because this is too much to scrape off and I'm just literally running out of time. So we're gonna sandblast the bottom of this thing. Not really sandblast, but it's actually like a glass medium. Strip it off, and then I'm gonna put some Total Protect on this thing and then the bottom barrier coat. And after that, we're just about ready to go to the water.
Man, this boat looks fantastic with the bottom stripped off. Tons of old, crappy ablative paint, or whatever was on this boat, is now gone. We now have a nice blank canvas with some little bit of scratches and dents, but hey, this Total Boat Total Protect should cover most of it up.
Probably the most of the stuff I've ever used. We gotta mix it up and get it on the boat.
So it's time to paint this thing on. James and his assistant are gonna totally make this go faster for me, and then we can get on with the ablative protective paint.
All right, we got gray paint on the dumpster fire. It's time for white paint. This is still epoxy. The reason why is that in case I hit the bottom a lot with like rocks and like sand and like just me being stupid, I'll know how far I've worn into the actual boat hull because we've got ablative paint, which is Total Boat Spartan, which is gonna be on this thing. And then we got the barrier coat. Now, if I get rid of the barrier coat, I know we've got a problem. So that's why I'm doing this extra layer of barrier coat. So we're going to have basically red paint, white paint, gray paint, and then the boat hull. The goal is to not get to the boat hull. That's why I'm putting a lot of paint coats on this thing. Now it's time for Total Boat Spartan. It's got a lot of...
Now it's time to apply the Total Boat Spartan Protect. This stuff is fantastic, but it really does stink. You really should be wearing PPE when applying this stuff because you really don't want the health effects of it, because it technically is a pesticide after all. It's really not meant to promote growth or anything on the bottom of the boat, because when the boat moves to the water, its job is to make sure the marine growth kind of just falls off and doesn't stay attached to the paint or even try to grow to the paint, so the boat goes fast through the water, so you don't burn a bunch of extra fuel moving through the water when you're trying to drag barnacles and other junk through it. We got this off the trunk of the boat. It looks bad. We're gonna make a better one. I mean, it's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig, considering the rest of the boat looked kind of bad as far as aesthetics, but hey, nice to have a little bit of woodworking. Now it's time for the fun stuff. I'm gonna make the handrails for the boat. I don't see anyone selling specific handrails for this thing that match my bolt pattern, so what do? We go buy some expensive premium white oak, drill holes in it, and make our own custom handrails to match. I like a little bit of brightwork on my boat, but not a whole lot of brightwork, because that's just a lot of maintenance in the Florida sun. But this stuff should hold up pretty good. We're gonna use Total Boat to seal it all up after I stain it a little bit, and it should look fantastic on the boat. I really hate sanding, but these are gonna look pretty okay when it's done. Does anyone know what these things are called? I've looked up so many terms for this thing. It's like a navigation LED light board, or light board for a boat. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool, so I'm making my own because I can't seem to find one anywhere to buy. This is Total Boat's total penetration, like penetrating epoxy. It's really going to get into the fibers of this mahogany. Oh, look at that. Really bring up that cool wood look that mahogany has naturally and seal it up perfectly. So this wood hopefully never really actually rots. There it is. It's now time to build the A-frame davit. This is some aluminum I got from Alrose Steel. Yeah, they don't really sponsor anything, but I would love a sponsorship for them for more materials. They got pretty good prices in the whole area. So we're gonna build the davit ourselves because I can't really seem to find one anywhere. So we're gonna use some of these big pieces of 6061 aluminum, cut them in the right angles, and I'm gonna pay a guy to weld this because I don't have a TIG welder that's water cooled and big enough and able to handle such a task. Look at this cool lamp thing. Got this at a salvage yard from some sunk boats, I guess? I don't know, it's salvage. We're gonna clean these up because I'm totally going to use these. All right, those look pretty clean. Pretty good value there for free from the junkyard. I don't like these light bulbs, so I got LEDs. Let's see how these look. Normal halogen. Okay, whatever, kind of bright. LED. Much brighter. Oh boy, my dumpster fire is still here. We only got 7 days to launch. She looks great for sitting out here completely unattended. I mean, I still need some work, but anyways, I can finally get back to work on the boat. I didn't leave that open. Huh, someone's been in here. Actually, I think someone has been in here. Someone's messed with the boat because I left this thing all locked up and swung this down because I haven't finished my gig yet, so I'm gonna go see what's stolen or missing out of my boat. Well, everything still looks here. Nothing catastrophic that I can see. I still have tools, so someone would have stolen that. Probably would have stolen that. Probably would have stolen that. Yeah, I don't know why the door's open. Guess I'll ask when everyone shows up. Time for some total tread. I don't want to slip and fall for this, so some of this gritty paint is definitely required. Well, so long, Mary Kathleen. It was nice knowing you, but I think it's time for a new name. Look, changing the name of the boat. Look who shows up. Meow meow. Okay, there's a big problem here. So whoever opened my door left it open, and nature always finds a way. So there is a bird nest right there. In my haste, I've relocated it. There. We got some baby birds in this nest. I have 9 days to get this boat in the water. I'm hoping these guys mature. They're little peepers. They're in there. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, look at his little face. They're hungry, so I'm gonna leave them alone, and hopefully the mother comes and feeds them. These turned out pretty good. So we gotta install the light boards for the boat now, because these are for navigation. I made them, they look kind of cool.
At least one thing looks nice on this boat. Gotta install the other side. Drill some holes and stick it on through. Time to install the starboard side, which is the green light that goes on this side. It's working! The bird came back! Oh boy! Bow thruster test time. No spark, that's good. Because the switch is off. But if you turn it on, no explosion. Oh, it's beeping. What does that mean?
The beeping means you just have to press the on button twice. I don't like to read the manual and just figure things out by pressing more buttons.
Ooh, it works. Oh boy, look at that. My fitment's actually pretty good. These holes actually kind of line up. I was just painting this thing like a freaking month ago. And I was told that as long as I put the Spartan on there, I wouldn't have to sand it or, you know, whatever if I came and paint it later. Because I only put one coat. It needs like a minimum of 2 coats, but then it turns out if you let it sit for too long, you need to sand it. So I'm going to be here like an idiot all day sanding it with another piece of Scotch-Brite before I can put on the second layer of paint. I have a problem here. This guy's on my leg. This guy's trying to figure out what to do. Nice haircut. There's 4 of them. I didn't even know there's 4 in there. You can do it. You just gotta do it. Spread your wings. Now we can install the actual brand new Dynaplate. This says do not paint on it. Whoever painted this thing is a moron. Can't read. Install that. Drill a hole. Put some screws in and it's good to go, supposedly for lighting protection and grounding. And inside the boat, this is the other side of the Dynaplate. It's really for lighting protection and grounding. I think mostly grounding, really lighting protection. It's kind of a crapshoot if you get struck by 1,000,000 volts. So this is probably going to explode if it ever gets hit by lightning, but it's 3 pieces of 12 gauge wire soldered onto the washer. That's gold plated, pretty cool. That goes like that. And you put the gold nut on. You know, if this thing really gets hit by lightning, I don't have that much faith in this thing, like, really saving the boat, but you never know. I mean, it's going to Florida, so I'm probably going to figure this out one way or another. So we finished the grounding plate, but we also need to install zinc. I think on the galvanic scale for whatever sheds, like electrons, zinc does something in salt water, so it's going to erode while all the other metals on my boat are protected. So this is important that this gets installed on the boat, because if you put this in the salt water, these different metals will react with each other. So this must be installed. Also can't forget the main shaft. That's stainless with bronze, so I definitely should put something on that. So we got this big old 2-inch piece of zinc that's going on there. And if this works right, this should corrode away after a while. If it doesn't corrode away, I probably have a bigger problem.
At this point in the project, I have some reinforcements inbound. My dad, my brother, Sam, they're all coming out to help me get this thing in the water on our last final stretch.
Literally have 2 days before it goes in the water, so to get all this work done real quick. Because I want to do a layer of paint on the boat before we actually go in the water. Where are you going? Bring that back. Hey. Dummy.
We're gonna need to paint the sides of the boat because that's a big job and I don't really want to do it myself, so they're gonna help sand it down, put some paint on it.
And you've got bugs in my paint.
You got paint in my boat.
What? No, this is top shelf quality work we're doing right here. I mean, this is definitely a yacht-like finish. Hey, Steven, you think he's gonna get up? Einstein!
Then we're gonna install the radar for the boat. That's heavy.
So you see we have this sick radar that says Fruno? Well, if you turn it, it hits. I should have got the pancake one.
I engineer.
Engineer.
Peter engineer.
See, I made it like make sure I had enough distance here, but my idiot brain didn't think of this problem here.
What are you doing? Oh,
Bring it forward.
Yeah, it sends out radar waves. It looks for a return and sends it back, and then receives it, and then shows me on a cool display down there. You know radar, old man?
No.
What? Can you open the corgi hatch? Hey,
the hell is that?
what are you doing?
It looks still good. Still in good shape. Probably make it to harbor. Alright, back in you go.
Hey, why aren't you painting?
It's freaking raining.
We have one day to go to launch. We haven't finished painting, and the sky has blessed me with the stupid rain.
Oh, yes, dear.
This sucks. All right, we're down just for a few more hours. The boat's going in the water tomorrow. I have currently no living quarters here because I spent all my time doing the mechanicals in the boat. So this is really gonna suck because I think we're putting the boat in the water. Then I'm just gonna head south in a few days, and I really need a place to camp. And it's very, very work boaty around here. Like as in no living provisions. So I'm going to have to probably just rough it out till it gets to Florida. I can deal with this some other time. Yeah, bedtime. Making a bed. Don't mind me. I only got a few hours left. How's the hydraulics coming? Sam?
Very good.
Really good.
Yeah, that goes right there. Exactly. That's how this is supposed to work. All right, we can put the A-frame on. This thing is like the final piece to this silly boat puzzle. Why the giant A-frame, David? Well, if you've probably watched the last videos, I think I explained it, but I'll do it again. It's for the submarines and submersibles that I really want to launch off the backside. You guys have been clamoring for a homemade submarine, so before I ocean gate myself, I need to build the ocean gate research vessel. So we're doing that right now. Then we can finally launch my little ocean gate submarines off the back and hopefully don't ocean gate myself and implode. But that's a subject for another video. Yeah, this looks awesome. Hey, what are you doing, Sam?
Look, we got a rope swing.
Hey, that's my bilge hose.
Get a real rope, that would make you a rope.
Yeah, let's test it right now. Hey, Kristen, we're launching today. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Brad? Thank you. Sick monkey's fist. I have no idea how to tie this, but this is really cool. Hey, my crew is here, FYI. First mate, feeding the dogs. Or the dogs may be getting fed from him. Is that what you guys typically do?
I've never christened.
I've never christened a boat.
Yes. I think it would be great. We can make it super official.
Okay, we are 30 minutes away from the boat launch. Apparently when you rename a boat, you're supposed to do this whole renaming ceremony. I don't know anything about boats, but I got this boat. So I'm going to read this to make sure we don't get bad luck, because it's apparently bad luck if you don't do this. Thousands of years we have gone to sea. We have crafted vessels to carry us, and we have called them by name. There, all right, you need to break them up. All of you, all right, ready, go.
Woo! Yeah! Woo! Bleeding. Yes!
He's here. There he goes quick.
He really does go back. He's got so skill.
Whoa.
They do it for a living, so I mean, they gotta be good. All right, the boat has finally left its graveyard. They're probably so relieved here at Total Boat that I got my boat out of this yard. But man, is it so wild watching this thing go down the road. I can't imagine such a heavy boat like this thing moving so gracefully on this crazy big boat semi-truck trailer. These guys ripped it out of the yard in like less than 10 minutes. It's a short trip down to the street, and then we're gonna get in the water. We have arrived. The boat safely made it to the boat ramp. Now comes part 2. Will it take on water and start sinking? Any last words? I hope it don't sink. It's finally going back in the water. My work is going to pay off, or we're either going to end up at the bottom of this ocean. All right, the boat is in the water. All of the accessories are now on there because it's got the cool radar that doesn't work. It's just on there for show. The exhaust stack thing, my mast, done. We're gonna take the boat for its first inaugural run. We're gonna really be careful about things because I've never really quite done things before, so I think I'm gonna have to leave these hatches open. Kind of pay attention to how water's leaking around that thing. Because this thing here, this is the traditional old style packing gland. So inside here is a bunch of rope. It squishes up against the back of this bronze part here, and it kind of like causes it to seal up. The thing is, when the boat runs, this should drip a little bit, but when it's sitting, it shouldn't drip. So it's still new, so it's most likely gonna have some wear and stuff, so I don't have to keep coming here and messing with it. But we're gonna run it open just to make sure nothing catastrophic happens. Okay. Clear prop. Wait, no, not clear prop. Turn this on. Lift pump's running. Key. Clear prop. Run.
Get in, Steven! Whoa! We're moving! How's it feel?
Feels pretty good. I mean, driving like my other toy boat. What was that? I might have just hit the bottom a little bit. Oh.
You got your depth thing working?
Hang on.
Moving behind the rocks.
Keep going. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Alright, it's a little fiberglass damage. I'll go dive and inspect it. Alright. I don't like that ramp.
Now my ultimate rope swing is done and in the water. Just kidding. It's time to get underway and get this boat to Florida.
Look at that. It's the Sterilizer 9000. The images look very good sitting out here. I don't know if it's supposed to be that blotchy, but I guess I'll figure out how to use this thing.
We're having fun here in Rhode Island, but it turns out on a quick sea trial, my propeller is too big for this boat, so we need to haul this thing out. But we're not quite ready to haul out yet because I'm on the schedule and there's a waiting list, so we're gonna have fun in Rhode Island for a few days. Then it's time to actually change this propeller out and get underway and start moving down south.
It's time for a new propeller. I hope this works. Are they
7/16.
7/16? Okay, because I need to fabricate. I got this prop. Let's go put it on the boat. Finally get out of here. Today we're moving the boat. We got our propeller. We're gonna go haul out at a safe harbor. Get that bad boy switched so we can actually get underway. How's it going? All right.
We're not moving yet. What? That's just gonna go drive over there.
The boat's being lifted out of the water. You're probably wondering why it's peeing like crazy. Well, this thing also has a wet keel. So from the back of the stuffing box to the propeller shaft doohickey on the very back, it's actually hollow. It's its own little water chamber in there that fills up with water. I think it's for sea stability, but it adds about probably 300 or so pounds of ballast to the boat. That's actually just liquid water. Oh boy, you can definitely see where I touched a little bit of bottom right there. I'm gonna have to repair this fiberglass work eventually, but it's not gonna be today. This shouldn't be too bad. The nuts came off quite easily. Now we're gonna work on the propeller. Well, that's not working. Okay, well, these guys have this weird propeller puller thing. That's definitely not the right size for this one. And at this point, I'm giving up on this too. I'm gonna run to the hardware store and try to use the bolt pattern in the back of the prop, because you can thread in the back of this prop and you should be able to tighten down the thread some, and it should be able to extract the propeller backwards. I'm really starting to lose some faith here if I'm gonna be able to get this thing off, and we're eating into our yard time because this thing can't stay here all day, so I have to get this done.
All right. we did all three things. We did the prop puller, a torch, and a guy with a sledgehammer, and we popped it off. So that.
Oh, what a relief. It finally came off. Okay, time to put the new one on and we can get this boat back into the water. So the reason why we pull this boat out of the water to change the propeller is too big. What that means is the engine is not capable of making the rated RPMs and it's overloaded. Now imagine the engine running overloaded for like 200 plus hours, which it will probably take us to get to Florida. I don't want to run in that condition because it's very bad for the engine. It's going to get too hot, it's not going to be happy, and I could destroy my $27,000 investment in this silly motor. So we're going to put the smaller 23 by 20 propeller on because the old one is a 25 by 25. 25. And this is definitely going to be under-wheeled and under-pitched, but the motor should have an easy time running it. It may not be the most fuel-efficient way to do it, but I'm sure we can at least get underway because I don't want to wait around here any longer. It's time to steam down south.
All right, new prop is on. Looks pretty good. It's definitely smaller. Yeah, you can see the damage I've done to my keel. It's pretty big. I want to fix this at some point. New old propeller.
All right, we're in gear. It's doing better from what I can see. The percent load is much lower. When it was in gear last time, at the lowest throttle setting, throwing in gear, puts it at like 30% load. It's at 17 now, which is like half. And the engine doesn't even seem like it's struggling to idle, which it was earlier. So I'm feeling way better about this propeller, like not overloading the engine. We should be underloaded if anything, because it's a 23-inch 20. Really, I was supposed to find a 2410, or 2420, but nobody had it. So I went with a small little dinky prop because I don't want to haul the boat again and I just want to get going. Now we have the correct propeller. The boat is slightly underwheeled, but it's underwheeled for a reason because I don't want to blow up this engine and have to try to replace the engine somewhere in the middle of this giant epic boat adventure, which should take us approximately 3 to 6 weeks. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but we need to steam out of Bristol, Rhode Island and start heading down south. For the first run out here, like this is our first day of actually traveling. The seas are kind of rough. I didn't really know what I expect, but this boat seems pretty seaworthy, but I don't really know what is too much waves or not enough waves, but we are definitely rocking back and forward. We're just dealing with the remnants of a hurricane. It's definitely rough, and I heard a few Coast Guard calls, which is interesting to say the least. So I wasn't sure if I was supposed to worry or not, but the boat did totally fine. We were never in any danger, just things were flying around on the deck and sliding all over the place, and water was getting everywhere. But this boat took it like a champ. Don't mind me, just drive my boat in the sloppiest waves in the whole entire world. Oh, there's a message in a bottle. I freaking saw it. It's going. I think the kid made this. I saw glitter in it. Give me the thing. Where's the thing? I got it. This is a dip net for the boat. Alright, we've been at sea, and I've been with my dinghy. Look what I found. We found this yesterday. Oh, time to open it. Oh, that just fell off. Who thought this was a good idea? Who are you people? Got it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah.
I guess we'll put a sticker on this, put it back in the bottle, and send it away. And yeah, we'll cast her off somewhere down south.
That's so cool.
New Haven. We're gonna be somewhere around there. I got an anchorage that we. Big container ship. It's not a container ship. It's some sort of bulk carrier or whatever. We've made it a few days into our boat adventure. Now it's time for New York. I've never had to boat through New York or any big city in my life. We have to go to this thing called Hell's Gate, which has a lot of water and high currents, so it could be a little sketchy, but I'm a powerboat, so I'm not really too worried about it. But we're gonna pick a pretty calm time and go through this thing. It should be fun. looks like nothing out there, but we safely maneuvered through New York without crashing into anything or getting hit by anything. Next on the list is Manasquan Inlet, New Jersey. Fun fact, Manasquan, New Jersey is where this boat was bought from. Steve took me on a sea trial out here, not in the ocean part, but like this little lake thing. That's where we sea trialed the boat, and then I bought it. We're going right back to the inlet now. Fortunately, it looks like the tide and the winds are the same coming out of the inlet, so it should be fine, because normally this inlet can be a little hairy on some days. From the research I found, it looks like it's going to be easy. We are now officially in the Intracoastal Waterway. I just found that out too.
Is it pushing us sideways?
A little bit. Day 6, everyone. Day 6. The Musty Crab's open for another day of business. We are going back the way we came because the ICW New Jersey sucks. So we're going through Point Pleasant Canal right now. Then it's through Manasquan Inlet.
Glug, 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 glug.
My credit card gets destroyed.
$1, $10, $10.
Cha-ching. The boat is totally fine for a minute, and then because of the wave sets, the boat kind of like goes over and then gets shoved under a little bit and then like gallops over the next wave, and then just because of the sets are perfectly aligned, it causes the boat to get really rough and then flatten out for like a whole minute, and then work this up and down like this a lot. We are in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Never been here. I don't know what to expect. Just at the anchor, but what I did is I backed down my anchor and then I shut the engine off, and now we kind of just slingshot it forward. So we're back over the anchor. I still hope it sets, because it didn't seem like it set, because that was the second time I tested. Yeah, you see that place out there? I'm stealing their Wi-Fi with my super homemade directional Wi-Fi antenna. It's found plans for it, so I built it out of brass and some 3D printed parts.
It's like the ones you see driving around the strip.
Yeah, that's funny. Now it's time for a pretty surreal experience. I've been working on this boat for so long, and it's a few weeks into our adventure, and we're out in the open ocean now. It's kind of nuts. I'm glad I don't have to get covered in any more itchy fiberglass, so I can actually just get time to enjoy this boat before we ruin it with my fancy submarine projects. I got this crappy ROV, and it's definitely working today. It's pretty cool when it does work, so we're gonna go look underneath the boat, because it's been a few weeks, and I want to see if there's anything on the bottom of the boat. Propeller looks totally fine. I don't really see any growth, which I don't really expect there to be. Well, let's go look at the bow thruster. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I see him.
Oh no, he sees me. Yeah. We're in the middle of a bay. I don't know which one it is, but it's not the Chesapeake Bay. It's like north of that, in between Delaware and Cape May, in New Jersey.
Bye.
We gotta go there because the weather's gonna get snotty out in the Atlantic, so we can't really do our fast route. We have to detour. So for a detour, might as well go see something fun.
Oh, whoa, look at this big clump we just went over.
Today it's a crappy day. It rained. Anyways, we're gonna check out the C and D canal, which I just found out. Why is it C and D? Where's A and B? But C is Chesapeake and D is Delaware, I believe. what I ordered. I thought I was gonna have like shocks like the front one to hold it open so we get airflow, but it's the wrong kind. It's an escape hatch. I made it non-escapable, but I made it not coverable.
Someone's having a bad day.
Alright, we're in Maryland. I really wish I could have visited my boy Luke McFadden, who's a professional crabber. But anyways, I got some crabs here, and I think my brother Steven hooked him up with these sweet Nipix brand crab tools. So you crush these, and then you can eat your crabs. It worked fantastically.
How many days is it now?
I don't know.
Okay, we've been sat idle for like the last 3 days because of the really crappy weather out of the Chesapeake. Apparently, people say the Chesapeake can be kind of an animal when it comes to like weather and being very weird. So, anyways, it's a beautiful day today. We're sailing, motoring to Virginia now, and yeah, nothing eventful to report. Apparently, I guess it's the thing. We're inside this lock, and everyone's got plastered with stickers. I need my boat name because, like, look, that one's got a name, that one's got a name. They all have custom stickers. I need my boat sticker.
So we're tied up in the lock because we are going up. There's also the downers when you are lowering. And there's Peter.
The lock, it's closing. We're gonna be trapped in here.
So that's funny. That's funny.
Hi, puppy.
Oh, look at Toad. So I don't want to sit here idling, burning diesel for nothing. So I resorted to good old-fashioned human power to hold position. Haven't got the fancy stuff going on the boat yet, like the electric motors that hold me in position. I've yet to design that. But for now, this has to do.
Excited because there's tons of fish here. They're all diving and getting them.
Come look at these weird worm things. Yo, look at those squiggly doodads. What the heck are those things? Look at their locomotion. That is so weird. Does anyone know what these things are? They're very small. They're maybe like 3 inches long. Yeah, that one's broken. What's wrong with that one? Look at that battleship. Look at that smaller boat. That's a weird boat. It's got like quart nozzles, those thrusters up above the water line, and it's got some on the backside too. I wonder what it does. Ooh. Where are we going again? South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Time for something way less exciting, or maybe it's more exciting, I don't know. Some people really like to work on their boat a lot. I like to work on my boat when I have all my stuff, but unfortunately, we're doing a Total Boat brand oil change. Just kidding. The engine has achieved 150 hours. Some people like to change it at 100 hours. Some people say, Cummins says you changed it at 200 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and split the difference and change it at 150, since it's the first time this boat's
really had an oil change, and it's still kind of being broken because it's only got 409 hours since the last oil change, and it's going to be messy because there's this bilge part, which I'm not drilling a hole through the bottom of my boat to get to that plug, so I got to reach down there and undo it. That's going to suck. Oh yeah, it's a really good important part that if you're doing your oil change on your boat on the water, you turn your bilge pumps off. You do not want to pump oil into the water. Not only is it bad for the environment, you get a huge fine for the Coast Guard if they catch you spilling oil into the water. So turn those bilge pumps off before you change your oil in case you get all your oil in the bilge. Pull the oils out. Time for some new oil. Oh, that was a mess. Definitely had to clean my bilge up after a while. Time for some Total Boat brand oil. Just kidding, it's Shell oil. This thing supposedly takes 13 quarts of oil, which is crazy. Today we are going through Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the ICW, and there is a ton of boat traffic. Cool airplane sombrero. What's a VOR? I just followed the magenta line on my GPS. Just kidding, I don't really know how to navigate with VORs that well either. School bus boat. I will say, anchoring out is really nice because you have the quietest place to fly your toy helicopters. Freaking love this scale helicopter. It's so awesome. It's MD500. It's like, I bought it on Amazon. It's freaking great. Even though it crashed a bunch of times. Neat. I guess they moved this barge all the way across to get cars across from one side to the other. That's the first time I've seen that. But check out that thruster. That's cool. Hey, you can't park there. It's not parking. That looks like an alligator. Yeah, it's definitely an alligator. In South Carolina, they have these apparently. I like some creative boat names. Look at all these worm things. I love these fake coyotes people put on their boats to keep the birds off. Probably works. That guy's a lifeboat as a boat. That's his personal boat. That's crazy. I took a little bike ride. And like it's crazy flooding here in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't know. This crazy e-bike is like not really waterproof, but I had the motor underwater at one point. This is awful. This boat has been fantastic. There's been no major fires, no transmission explosions, and all sorts of bad stuff happening thanks to Seaboard Marine. They've really helped me with all the questions I have. I know I've mentioned them before, but if you guys have any sort of repower project, I highly recommend checking them out. Their website is super streamlined. They make all sorts of like upgrades and junk for your Cummins engines and ZF transmissions and whatever you need. They've got it there, and they've definitely squared me away with this boat project. Super knowledgeable, fast shipping times, and I got everything that I needed for this boat thanks to them. So if you're looking for any of that, check them out. That's got an A-frame on it. That one's got an A-frame on it. That one's got an A-frame on it too.
Hi, Mr. Pelican. Oh, bye.
I think it's like two bodies of water converging from different streams, but it's like this huge ripply, currenty layer. And it's like kind of calm over here. It's very weird. The dolphins are really close.
Wow. Holy sh.
Alright, we are now like 30 days into this trip. And I heard a weird metal scraping noise when I started the engine. A water tensioner pump belt doohickey, this thing, the bolt fell out at some point.
Probably like yesterday. I don't really know when, but I heard the metal scraping noise, and this is very bad because if I were to lose this, the water pump that pumps coolant throughout the engine would stop working, and then the engine would overheat, and then we would be really screwed. All right, time to go figure out where that bolt went off to. I found the nut. The bolt was in the bilge. I didn't assemble this as well as my fault. All right, and we are good to go. Do this. It's supposed to be like that. That's better. It appears I have made a gross miscalculation.
Maybe it's an island.
I was looking at places to stop, and then I didn't realize where the boat was going, and I soft grounded the boat. So we're stuck here for a little bit. I mean, I could just wait for the tide. We're gonna have like a 6-foot tide swing, but I mean, we'd be stuck here for a while.
This is not a parking spot.
Hey, you can't park there. I parked here. Okay, so the problem is that little green dot right there, that's actually really deep water. If this was inverted, it actually turns out to be sand. Maybe around 10 o'clock we'll be floating again, because then it'll be 3 feet. And if we wait even longer, it's going to be 4 feet. And then if we wait even longer, it'll be 5 feet at 12 in the morning, which wouldn't be fun, but we'd at least definitely be floating. I'm only like maybe 6 inches below where I should be in the water column. Well, I would like to take this inopportune time to do some underwater boat maintenance because the boat is no longer underwater. My lights are dirty. Look, I can clean them. I probably could have done this from not underwater, or from underwater anyways, but those look amazing. This inopportune time to look at that. That is the zinc for the boat. It's definitely doing some zinc stuff, like eroding away, which it should. Kind of a cool view. Normally we have to pay a lot of money to pull up the boat to look at this. All right, it looks like we're floating again. Oh, we're moving. I didn't have to wait that long. It's like 8:30.
Nah.
We are free. Hopefully that's the only time I do this stupid mistake, but you know, it's always me.
Oh, that's not a good parking spot. For trains.
That looks cool. Some dredging equipment. Welcome to Florida. Having walked around this boatyard of boat stuff, I look on the wall and I see the suspicious propeller. It's a 24-inch prop. It's exactly what I need, and the bore is 2 inches. It's perfect. This is the size prop I need. I found in the junkyard. I need this anchor for the hurricane. That's why I need this right here.
I'll give you props. This is a good place. Video idea. Build a boat out of junkyard stuff. There's actually a kitchen sink.
This thing is super expensive, and when we're leaving on these little side adventures, I really like to make sure my boat isn't sinking, and that's why I'm really happy that Sensar Marine hooked me up with this crazy little doohickey right here. It's basically a cellular connected device that tells you what kind of water level you have in your bilge, what's the water temperature in the bilge, how many times the bilge pump is kicked on, where's your boat, and all sorts of crazy things like that. And it's connected to cell towers, so you can get a text on your cell phone no matter where you're at, so you can always know that your boat is currently floating, or if it's in crisis and getting ready to sink, because nobody wants that phone call when you hear about your boat being underwater at the dock. Because I'm ultra paranoid when it comes to that sort of thing, and I get some pretty bad anxiety. So huge thanks to Sensor Marine for hooking me up with this thing. It's awesome. I definitely recommend this if you own a boat worth any monies at all. This thing could really save you a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of headache.
And then this boat is parked on the seabed, it looks like.
This episode of Deadliest Catch. Do you like the Florida weather?
Very pretty.
Radar completely washed out. Waves, wind. On this episode, we should have stayed at home and on the dock. Oh, you can stick it on the back.
Oh my god.
is so cool.
Oh.
Swimming around.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I think you do better with the net. Oh, yeah, well.
He's sexy, man. He's trying to show that other lizard is sexy. He's just walking down the street.
Yeah, go find your new home. What do you think?
Pay no attention to the background, but it's time for a very impromptu boat tour because you guys don't know what my house looks like. We've been at sea for many, many days if you count the marinas and anchoring out 50 yards from shore at sea. But let's take a tour of the boat. Here is the back of the boat. This is holding up great so far. We got this lovely mat that we've been walking on because the deck gets really hot under your sun. I should have gone with like a more lighter gray color and mixed more of that paint, but that's future me's problem. Let's look around. Here we go. We have the lovely dry stack exhaust closure, which is fantastic because it's very quiet. That's very noisy, but if you come under here, it's totally quiet when we run the boat. Fantastic. We have our lovely outdoor solar lights, which are holding up pretty good. We have the sliding door, which is a leftover from Steve. I didn't actually replace this. I might replace it later because I have some plans for this. We're gonna build some cabinetry here, some sinks, some place to gut some fish and do all that stuff when we decide to do some fishing. Out here, we also have the A-frame David or David. I don't know which one you use. It's currently just here, but not hooked up yet. We gotta do that. That's a future project. So we can actually launch some of these submersibles and the things that this boat was intended to do. But that's future me's problem. We have an American flag because you gotta know which port or which country I'm in for this boat. And we got our lovely smoky stack, which makes nauseous diesel smells. We also have our boat light boards. I actually don't know what these things are called. Do any of you guys know what these marine things are called? Like, these are the nav position light. This is the red one for the port side of the boat. But what is this board people build and put on their boats? I can't find an official name for this. So this will be a swinging door eventually. Let's go inside the boat because there's nothing to look at out here. Inside this lovely cabin, inside of our Downeaster, we have windows. We have a Harbor Freight fold-out table because it's all I could muster in the day before launch. How much money did I pay for this boat?
A lot.
But it looks pretty basic inside of here. The reason why is I didn't have enough time to finish the entire interior of the boat. I have to move the boat and I have to just, you know, make money with this thing because this project is just too expensive. So yeah, over here we have the $150 Walmart Galans fridge special. This has been fantastic. It's keeping all of our drinks nice and cool. That's great, runs off of AC power thanks to our power supply units, which are conveniently not here right now. But those have been keeping our stuff cool for as long as this trip has been going. Over here we have the lovely helm station, which is a little bit of a mess right now because you pay no attention to this either. We have Furuno 711C autopilot. We have SMX Seaview Marine diesel displays. These have been awesome, courtesy of Seaboard Marine. They hooked me up with the stuff for this, so we have all the data from our engines on this. Totally fantastic. Over here we have the Furuno chart plotter that I paid a lot of money for and I'm not super impressed with just yet. It's okay, gets the job done. But I use my phone a lot and we mostly navigate with, we've been navigating with Navionics because I like the user submitted data and feedback. It's pretty cool. Tells me where everything is and what to look out for. Up here we have some VHFs. I have the old VHF, a new VHF, and we have another Furuno doohickey. This one just runs the radar so we can look at the boats and other things that are gonna run into us so we can see them while they run into us. Over here, we have our cooking galley. We have a Walmart microwave, gets the job done, and we have a Walmart toaster, which also gets the job done. And we have a kettle that heats up water. Down in the berth, we have more stuff. Mattress protector fits one lovely sized twin mattress, which is barely enough for one adult, let alone two adults. Down here, we have just the berth area. There's nothing really fancy about it. I just built this out of 2x4s. Plywood the day before launch. Over here we have the escape hatch, which we haven't had to use yet because the boat hasn't begun sinking yet. Over here we have our lovely $80 Walmart TV, which has been a awesome source of entertainment when we're at marinas with Wi-Fi, because you can watch your crap on the streaming services. We have a cheap ROV, which is broken half the time. It's not very cheap, it's very expensive, but it doesn't look very good. I'm gonna build my own, and we're gonna do that. That's a future video where I build a super high performance ROV. Over here we have a toilet and sink. This is an Amazon special, $15, USB powered recharging sink with a funnel that leads overboard. Only for hand wash, nothing else. You can't do that. That's against federal regulations to discharge waste oil and all that stuff. So that's just for hand washing only. And here we have cartridge cassette toilets, or whatever you want to call them. You pee in it, and then you take this and you could dump it in a toilet. I don't even pump out this boat because you don't have to pump out this boat because it doesn't have anywhere to pump out with. I like the minimalisticness of it. I mean, with as much money as I spent on this thing, I probably could have done something about it, but I'm out of money, and you know, this is it. Here we have a fire extinguisher too. We got a 3D printer that we printed. We printed like literally one thing on this boat the entire time we were at sea. Oh well. Storage nets, which have been fantastic for this. So yeah, that's a tour of my Down East boat. Inside of it, you can clearly see it looks like not much, but it's gotten the job done so far. The Atlantic Ocean. Just kidding, it's Lake Okeechobee. It's freaking massive. We're crossing like through the middle section of Florida right now. Who even knew this thing was here? It's like 100-something miles long. We're gonna cross it today. Hopefully there's no weather, because here it gets really, really crazy during storms. For reference, that fish is about probably 5 bananas long.
Oh, he's serving the waves. Oh, he's liking it.
Oh, he's over there. He's swimming away.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Look at him go.
Oh yeah. That's what we call a basement boat.
Fish on finally caught a fish. It's taking forever. What is this guy? Oh, no, I lost the fish.
Yeah, aerial arts. Woo-wee.
But there it is, Skyway Bridge, almost home. Alright, we're landbound now. 50 days at sea. Nothing catastrophic happened, so that's always a good thing. There's always next time. Well, this currently is not the fate of my boat. Huge thanks to everyone for making this happen, especially Total Boat. They've allowed me to work on my project, if you can call it that, in their backyard and make a huge friggin' mess, but they provided me with product. We filmed some cool stuff. You should check out their Instagram here. If you want to check out any of the Total Boat products, I have them linked down below, but definitely check them out. If you're working on any sort of arts and craft project or a real boat, they've got you covered. I've worked with so many different types of epoxies, fiberglass, and things like that, and I really, really appreciate the tech support I've gotten from them. It's really easy when you're in your backyard to run up there and ask for it. However, if you call them, you're gonna get an actual person that knows how to use their epoxies and all that stuff. So if you're definitely a beginner in all this, or if you're a seasoned expert, check out Total Boat with their products. They will definitely make your product shine. In this case, float for me. You know, this boat is good at something. Not really lobstering, but it's good at protein. What I mean by protein, I don't know, but there's a thing of whey protein in the water. Look at Dum Dum, he's gonna go get it. Ah! No, I missed it! Come on, I'm gonna come on my port or starboard side. I'm on the other. Ooh, got it.
Oh no! It's got salt water in it.
This has been a giant stressful time of my wallet and my sanity. But this boat is finally finished. I can move on to making the science projects now we could do on the boat. I'm looking forward to trying some submarines and other weird doohickeys and things like that. It's basically just a giant research platform. Dollar store Calypso. Someone commented that's hilarious. It's basically a dollar store research vessel for the researcher who's going to research how to make YouTube videos.
Oh, ew, did his lips just rip off?
We're gonna make all sorts of like ground effect vehicles, submarines, and any sort of aquatic projects. This will be the home base for that because it's got a huge deck for all of your junk that you want to put on your deck. Surprisingly though, I didn't really expect as many of you to really be following along as you are, because you guys have been commenting, where's Lobster Boat Part 4? Well, here it is, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching my video, because this is definitely the longest video and the most painful thing Dave has had to edit in his entire editing career on my YouTube channel. So huge thanks to Dave. Right, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before you leave, check out the cool boat shoes.